Hello, my crafty friends. Shannon West here, back for another video. And this one is a bundle review featuring the Cup of Tea stamp set and the teacup dies. And this is an awesome bundle that I'm really excited to share 3 projects with you and some of my opinions on what the stamp set and dies are like, how they were to use for the first time, and a few tips and tricks for how to be successful when using them. Let's take a look. I will start by taking a closer look at both of these items, the stamp set and the dies. So like right off the bat, I noticed these 2 teacups. And they're so cute, both of them, like one very feminine, dainty design and then some bold stripes. I love stripes and polka dots. I'm a sucker for those. And so that drew my attention first. But then as you start looking at the stamp set, well, there are like 10 greetings. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10 greetings, as well as several other images that are so fun. And the lemon was one of the things that really pushed me over the edge into purchasing this bundle. So you can make just a regular cup of tea and there's a little hanging tag, as well as with the dies, there's these smaller tags that can hang off the side. And you can stamp some of these greetings on the tag if you want to. You can stamp directly on the teacup. It's really versatile. And so that's obvious use, but then there's also these plants and flowers so that you can turn the teacups into little planters or little succulent pots, I suppose, if you'd like. So many different options, very creative stamp set, and an awesome value since there are 20 stamps. Then there are 17 dies, and I'm going to leave them in the sleeve though so they don't fly everywhere. But there are so many here. Usually in a bundle review, I like to use everything. That's one of my pieces of advice, and which I'll get to in just a minute, is to, when you first have a bundle and you're playing with it, use every stamp and die. And I've made, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 projects now, and I still haven't used every single piece. So there's several flowers and leaves. These are framelits that go around some of these stamped images. But then the hearts are all just dies that cut out hearts, and they're, you know, and they don't, same with this lemon right here. There's no stamp that goes with that, as well as this teacup. So there's just a variety of framelits as well as just regular dies that cut things out. So the whole set together is just amazing with all the different possibilities. And then I will also show the designer series paper, not included in the bundle, but included in the suite. And this paper is really nice. It just has, there's 12 sheets, 4 of each sheet. So that's one side. And then if you flip it over, you see the patterns. So there's a lot of geometric type patterns and other patterns, bright colors, more muted colors, just awesome options there to go with the bundle. So let's make a project. The first project I want to make, I'm going to use the designer series paper. So when I do, when I first work with the stamp set and bundle, when I first work with a bundle, my 3 steps are: number 1, make a project with, you know, whatever the stamp set or bundle were intended, whatever the designers intended. So I'm starting with the designer series paper. I've selected these 3 sheets though. So not all of them. You could break them up into lots of different color schemes, but I'm decided to do kind of a fresh freesia and crushed curry motif for this card. So I'm going to just cut a strip at 3/4 of an inch through all 3 layers. And oh, that one didn't quite get done. That works. So we'll do that, and then I'll cut those in half too. So this is 3/4 of an inch by 6 inches, and then I'll just cut it so it's 3 by 3. Okay, and then I can use these as little pieces on the card. So here's the card, just a white card, and I'll lay these pieces out just in a different, I don't know, just different next to each other, but like so, and then I'll put some of the fresh freesia ones in between. So you can see we're getting, the DSP really sets the tone if you use it on your card, but you don't have to use all the pieces, so it can change how it looks. And then this yellow piece I'll use for something else. I already had one right here, so I'll keep that one. And I'm going to use that to cut out some of those itty bitty little hearts from the dies. And there's 3 in one die, so that's good because I'm going to use one of those in each of my projects. The next step on this card is I'm going to take these 2 teacups and cut them out of basic white. Okay, I've got both of the teacups cut out now, and I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive, and I'll put that down. I'm just going to layer these right on top of each other, white on white, so that it just brings out the focuses, the nice detail of the die. Looks so pretty. So that part is finished, and now let's do a little greeting. I've got this small piece here. I think this is 3/4 of an inch by, I don't know, 3 inches about. And I will stamp this with Starry Sky, which, if I'm honest, I believe at this point is my favorite in color in the new set of in colors that was just released. It's funny because I thought for sure my favorite would be Sweet Sorbet, but this is the one that I've used more at this point. So I'll just stamp this close to the bottom. Thank you for your friendship. That seemed like an appropriate greeting for this little card. And then there's my 3 yellow stars. So I'll add a teeny bit of adhesive there, and that is ready to go on the greeting. Like that. And then this piece is going to act as kind of a pedestal, I suppose, or a resting place for the teacup, if that makes sense. So I'll put that right there and this one on top of it. But before I do, I need to add just a little bit of this amazing Starry Sky ribbon. Let's see, what's it called? Starry Sky metallic woven ribbon. This is kind of interesting. It's a little difficult to work with because it kind of shreds at the end and you can't really burn it. But I think it's worth it because it's so beautiful and shimmery and it just looks amazing. So just kind of take your time with it and tie your bow. I'm going to just tie it on the handle. So take your time with it so that it doesn't fray apart, and then it will look amazing. So the last step here is placing our teacup right in the center. So now you can see what I mean is it gives this teacup a little bit of a resting spot. So it's not just floating in space, but it's kind of sitting there on the shelf, if you will. So that's the first project, project number 1, using the bundle as it was intended by the designers. Teacup, designer series paper, a couple of the dies, stamp, and it just looks amazing and beautiful and so fun. Project number 2 in this bundle review, I took inspiration from this piece of designer series paper with the envelopes. Now, project number 2 is always use the product in a way it was not intended. Now, this was part of the suite, but I didn't see, and there weren't any envelopes in the dies or anything like that. So I decided to make a mini envelope to go on the front of my card. And I'm going to use this piece of designer series paper to do that. So I need to cut it down to 4 inches by 4 inches. And I kind of had to practice with this a little bit to get it to be the right size. But this is a really cool little trick I'm going to show you here of how to make a little mini envelope on your card if you'd like to do that. And show all of the plants and everything come flying out of the card. So I just cut, this is my guide, this little piece of cardstock, and it is, I don't remember how, but 2 3/4 by 1 3/4 inches. this is how big I want the envelope to be when it's all closed up. So what I need to do is just put this on my piece of designer series paper and put it in the middle, like on a diagonal like this, and try to get it really centered up nicely. So these 2 points, the line that goes between those 2 points goes right through the center of the card both ways. So you can measure, you know, if you have a scratch piece of paper around, you can go like this to help you measure and mark it if you want to. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it a little bit and go with it because I think it will work just fine. So now I'm going to score all the way around this guide, and if you want to, you can put like a teeny bit of adhesive there, or temporary adhesive, to hold that in place. And then I'm just going to put my trimmer just right, I know I practiced so I know exactly where the scoring blade goes. I'm just going to run that right by the side of the guide. And then you can kind of test it, you know, rub your finger over it to make sure that there's a groove there before you go on. So you want to do all 4 sides, and then we'll fold in the envelope and fold in the sides and stick it together. And really the only thing, like, you could do this, the only trick from here, you take that off, the only trick from here is you could just fold it in, but you want to cut out each of these corners because it gets too bulky. Okay, I'm not sure if you noticed that when it was zooming by, but some of the score lines weren't heavy enough, so I had to go do another layer to make sure that they were noticeable, and that makes your folding up of the envelope much smoother. So, and a bone folder is nice here if you'd like. So the last thing you want to do here is, I just kind of make a little mark with my fingernail, those points right there, and then I'm going to slice that off this way so you have a flat edge to your envelope right there and it doesn't stick up. Okay, we're all set now. See, we have our little mini envelope and it's so adorable. And my points weren't perfect either, but it's okay. It doesn't really matter because once you get all of the plants and detail in this, that part will hardly show. Now, if you want to pay attention to which direction it goes, this pattern could be going the right direction, but it's pretty much going to be covered up anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. And here is the finished card. So cute. So see, little envelope with all of these plants coming out of it, and I just stayed with the color scheme that was on that designer series paper. I didn't want to cover up the inside of the envelope because that really adds to it, but then there's all these other plants flying out of that, which looks just so adorable. Add a little I miss you tea tag with a little, you know, it's like a little tea bag tag hanging out there. And again, a little bit of that ribbon. Now, one more little trick here, and that's the background. I did that with this embossing folder, which is too thin for this piece of paper. See, it's just barely too thin. So I ran it through twice, and this worked perfectly. So if you're going to do that, I wanted something really geometric. But just make sure to line it up with the edge over here and then run it through one time, and then it's easy to put the other edge right here. Then you close the embossing folder, and that time I ran it through the machine like this, and it worked like a charm. So now you have that beautiful greenery background popping out right there. So this is project number 2, using the product as it was not intended, but still makes such a beautiful card. Project number 3 for my bundle reviews is usually using every stamp or die, and we have lots left that I haven't used. When I got to this point, I was like, oh, there's a lot, but the one I hadn't used that I was the most excited about using was this striped teacup, and this is Orchid Oasis, one of the new in colors. So I'll just stamp a nice bold striped teacup on white cardstock and then die cut that out. So this is definitely part of my review. This stamp in particular, but all of the stamps in this set just stamp with such perfect quality. That together with the new ink pads, sometimes you have to kind of rough up the stamp, but I didn't have to do that at all this time. It just stamped absolutely beautifully. Beautiful quality, beautiful results. And that sure makes stamping fun when you pull the stamp away from the cardstock and go, wow, that looks pretty before I've even embellished it or put it on the card at all. So I'm going to die cut this in a little mini tea bag. And then I'm going to use this lemon because after doing 2 projects, I still hadn't used the lemons and I loved those. So I'm going to die cut that as well. Teacup is cut out. Little yellow lemon wedge is cut out. That is so cute and so dainty. And then little tag is cut out, and I stuck one of those little yellow hearts that I had left over from my first project here. So we are progressing right along. Now I've got a little piece of this left over from the designer series paper that I used on the envelope, and I'll cut a little bit out with this punch. And it's just going to be, this is again going to be like a little resting place or a little placemat for the teacup. So you can see how that's going to go together. So I've got a crumb cake note card. So it's just kind of smaller than the regular size card. And another piece of designer series paper from the pack. And then we'll put the little resting place, or maybe it's even like a doily for the, or a, what do they call those? Like a cozy? I don't know, I guess it's not like that, but just a kind of fun little embellishment for the teacup. And we'll stick this down. Oh, before I do that though, I need to get the lemon wedge situated. So for this, I kind of wanted to set it on there at an angle. So I just matched it up here and looked at how that angle worked out, and then just cut the slit straight up without going too far so that it didn't cut all the way. And there we go. And then it can just kind of sit right there on the adhesive and be stuck right there. Perfect. Okay, now we'll take, add these with dimensional so it's a little bit popped off. And the last step is the tag that goes along with it. There we go. And the tag has a heart on it, so I felt like that was a little bit like the greeting, sending love. So for this one, I need a mini dimensional, and then I'll just stick that to the back with the string. So there's a lot of different ways you could stick this string on it, but this way I found was so easy. Just stick that dimensional there, and then they stick together. And then this is going to need to be stuck down in there. I should have done this before I put the the cup to the card, but we will improvise. So that looks cute like that. You can kind of do it at a little angle if you want to, and then tuck that down in there for our third and final project of using up all of the, oh, that was way too long, but we'll go with it. Yeah, look how short that was. I went way too long on that. But there we go. Now it has a little string. Adorable. So, and I could keep going. There are so many cute different dies and stamp sets. Oh, it's really, really fun. So my review of this bundle is that it is very fun to use, lots of versatility, and I feel like I'm just getting started. Like, there are so many other things I want to make. For example, if you look again at the designer series paper colors, I have kind of stayed within the Starry Sky Orchid Oasis color scheme, but if you look back at the designer series paper, there is a Sweet Sorbet and Parakeet Party and a lot of other variety of colors, so you can take these projects in a lot of different directions, and with the flowers and all of that. So many options, so fun. Thanks for watching today. See you next time. Bye-bye.